going to be I've mass edited this because I've had a swollen face, so it's a bit of a definitely not what I usually do. So back with the mono explosion team. Unfortunately today is 3 losses, but I am just going to sort of commentate on what was going on and what my thoughts were. So I usually lead with Gorgeist Umbreon. It's probably one of the more solid leads. Frisk is pretty useful, and because they actually, I think this team actually had 2 ghost Pokemon in what do you call it, in the team preview. I was actually pretty happy that I changed out to more of a fairy heavy Misty Explosion team. As you can see that they I knew they were slow Pokemon, so I didn't bother with the Trick Room, which I thought was a good play, but I think it might have been a bit wrong in the long run, because I realized that obviously Gorgeist couldn't use Explosion against the Cursor, even though it has low defense, it would have killed it. I realized that I sort of needed to swap things up, and I didn't know what the item was, though I think in hindsight it was actually Choice Specs, or at least I think it was, considering it. No, I don't think it was Choice Specs. So here I double swap, which shows the order of what's going on. I'm going to be the fastest, so I double swapped so that I could bring out a more consistent damage to deal with the ghost types. As you know, Self-Destruct and Explosion don't work against ghost types. It's one of their biggest weaknesses. And that was a crit. It was unfortunate, and you know how it is. No, it's leftovers. What am I saying? Yeah, so I found out there it was leftovers, which was bad. I originally thought it might have been choiced, but it was definitely a wrong prediction on my part. So I went for a Protect here, just because I wanted to fake Tears the Corsola. So this way, when I came in and did the Misty Strike, the D-Max, I would definitely one-shot it. Here they've used Metal Sound, which lowers my special defense, and then Ice Beam comes in, hits the Protect, which I thought was an alright play on my part, though, you know, by the end of the world. Bronzong I don't think did much in this battle, which, you know, I think he just stood there. So after the fake Tears, they swapped out. Good prediction on their part, in my eyes. But what I did here was I actually double checked my speed stats, and Alcreme has 1 more in speed than Hatterene. So I actually used Decorate here, and then Decorate comes in, ups my special attack by 2 stages, and I come through and I do some mad damage, which I did think was a good play. Now you can Decorate through Protect, and I thought that would have been a smarter play, but yeah, I figured that doing this way was the best way to go about it. That way, I did the Decorate just in case they did swap out, which I think was a good prediction on my part. Though, as I said a bit earlier, we do lose this battle, which is a bit of a shame. Life Orb does put in some work, and then Flash Cannon comes in, and Alcreme takes a mad amount of damage. That's with the drop in special defense, so that's actually not that bad. So Chandelure here is the problem. It has, I think, 80 base speed, at least from memory, from last month's team. And so I know that it's going to go first. And I wasn't sure as to how it would work. What I should have done here was max guard with my Hatterene. I couldn't take out Chandelure. It's too strong, and I didn't have anything that would make it like incredibly useful. I did use Protect here. I should have used Misty Explosion. I didn't really have much else. As you can see, without using Max Guard and it being Psychic, it's super effective. I was going to get one shot regardless of the situation. I might have lived if I was at full HP, but obviously the crit earlier sort of screwed me up. There's not that much I can do about that. Lucky crit. But yeah, so that's where, this is essentially where I lose the match. There's quite literally nothing I can do. Gorgeist comes in. Gorgeist doesn't exactly have anything, which is a little disappointing. But Mindstorm comes in. I'm a little surprised they used Mindstorm, which changed the terrain, which is actually quite frustrating, because Misty Explosion actually gets a power up by 50% as per the effect of Misty Explosion if you're in Misty terrain. So I felt like it would have been Yeah, as you can see, Misty Explosion. I had nothing. I have no damaging moves. All I have is Explosion, Self-Destruct, and Misty Explosion. And it did very little damage. If we were in Misty Terrain, it would have done more, but there's not much I can do there. So, yeah, this match is a loss, unfortunately. It's just the way it goes. I definitely feel like, yeah, so I'm just helping handing. I'm not going to just... No, max guard. I was like, why? Like, I'm wondering if they quite literally didn't have any, like, they quite literally just had, say, a ghost and a psychic move. But they actually take me out with a flamethrower. Yeah, I was so confused as to why they max guarded. Like, there's nothing I can do. Obviously, they don't know that. Umbreon is pure support. It seems this is such a trend that Umbreon is the last one standing. Like, and this does not KO it. Umbreon is a tank. And so they Trick Room, and I'm like, these guys are just stalling out the match at this point. I was like, whatevs. I do lose the next turn to a flamethrower, which is to be expected. Helping Hand comes in again. I'm just letting them have the free win. And then, yeah, the flamethrower. So this one didn't work out well. The next match is even more disappointing because I actually threw the next match. I wanted to run the damage calcs as quick as possible, and I jumped on to, I think I was using just a Smogon damage calculator, and I wasn't quick enough, so I used double protect so that I could do it next time. And unfortunately, yeah, it didn't work. I made a mistake at the very, very last step, and I could have won. I should have had more confidence in my skill. So this definitely was an interesting match. So we got the Talonflame and the Excadrill. I wasn't sure how they wanted to do it. I only really saw, I think it was Heat Wave and Brave Bird from the Talonflame. And Umbreon avoids the attack, and it's like, oh, what luck. Gourgeist takes a beating, a bit annoying, and then Excadrill uses Earthquake. I felt like this was actually a pretty good combination on their part. It's a bit weird that Excadrill did so little damage. I figured it would be a far stronger damage dealer. Umbreon uses the Yawn. I didn't really want to deal with Excadrill. Usually Excadrill comes off as far more in terms of damage, and I used the Trick Room to try and get up some Shenanigans. Obviously they are quite fast, and I wasn't sure if they were going to use Tailwind. So he withdraws it and then throws out another to prevent the sleep. Then I use Trick or Treat to literally turn my Umbreon into a Ghost type so I can Helping Hand Explosion. Umbreon uses the Screech, misses. It's a bit of a shame. Heatwave comes in and kills Gourgeist. Which I wasn't exactly expecting, to be fair. I was hoping to like quite literally live on a little bit of HP. And then you have the big boy Dynamaxing and using I think it was definitely a fairy G-Max move, or D-Max move I should say. I don't know which one it is. It was probably Moonblast. It comes in, hits Umbreon. It's super effective against Umbreon, but I have now got. I think I was a bit lazy in my editing here. Snorlax is in. It comes in with your usual belly drum. Umbreon uses Yawn against the Talonflame. I thought because I could easily just one-shot Clefable, that it would be an easier... the fact that I even lived this surprised me. I definitely thought I could one-shot it with Snorlax next turn. Clefable has a decent HP. I think it's around 120-ish, if memory serves. I somewhere between 90 and 120. This is the thing that got me, and I was like 1 HP. 1 HP, like, what are the odds I lived on 1 HP? I was really shocked. And then they withdrew Talonflame, which is a big surprise because Misty Terrain actually prevents the Drowsy. And they brought in Cincino. This is where I Dynamax the glorious Snorlax. Snorlax then ends up one-shotting the Clefable with obviously it's Max Strike, Explosion. No, Self-Destruct. It's one of the reasons why I actually like this team. Is because the max the G-Max moves or the D-Max moves do the maximum amount of damage possible because of... So I went Detect here. This way I could actually get some HP back. I knew, obviously, Snorlax was going to hit first because of Trick Room. So Snorlax takes out Clefable, which was great. And then I got another berry. It does come important later on. A bit taken aback that I got a berry. I felt like I was pretty fortunate. Send out the Talonflame again. So as I said, I wasn't sure why they swapped out the Talonflame. I swapped out the Umbreon because I didn't want to risk the Detect twice. And this is where Hatterene comes in. I definitely feel like I misplayed with Hatterene a little bit later as well. I hit the Cincino. I don't know what it was capable of. I think it learns Sing, though it wouldn't have been useful. It does learn, I think, Skill Link. I like the fact that this had Brave Bird. Boom, comes in, does mad damage, hits with the recoil. Dimensions return to normal. Send out the Excadrill. What I should have done here was Protect. I think I protected, actually. No. I should have protected instead of going for Trick Room again. So you'll see the whole recoil damage, and then you got the Earthquake, and the Earthquake finishes me off. Which is a bit of a shame, and it does a fair bit of damage to Snorlax, all things considered. So I am a little disappointed there. Definitely made a mistake by not using Protect. And then Talonflame gets hit. This is where I should have hit Excadrill instead, but I hadn't run the damage calc yet. So that was a mistake on my part. And then I sent out Umbreon, and Snorlax goes down to the smaller form. So I used double Detect, Protect, not knowing what it was going to do. And I hadn't run the damage calcs, and so I was like... sort of like trying. And then I realized at this point I could one-shot it with self-destruct, but I didn't want to risk the what do you call it, the percent chance of missing with or failing with Detect on the Umbreon again. So it uses Earthquake. I was going to turn around and hoping that I'd live the hit with the Umbreon, but obviously I didn't. The berry comes back in play here, and I think I used Screech. I was just trying to delay the one turn so that I could guarantee the Protect, or Detect in this case, for the next turn. This is where I made my mistake. I should have just used Self-Destruct straight away, and I would have had my first win on this run. And then he uses Earthquake again, 1 HP, and I Self-Destruct. So if you know how Self-Destruct works, if you faint before your opponent does, even if you kill them, so you die. Whereas Brave Bird does recoil after your opponent. Self-destructing explosion kill you first. So because you technically faint first here, you end up losing, or I end up losing really. So I actually lost that. It just happened to be the way it is. It just is what it is. So now we get to verse another guy, and this was also a bit disappointing on my part. This is also another loss, which is a bit of a shame. So who is he sending out? He is sending out, yes, Rhyperior and Gyarados. This was one of those matches where I was actually quite afraid. Incredibly bulky Pokemon, Rhyperior, and Gyarados has the Intimidate. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting Moxie when I looked at the team preview, and I was like, oh, Intimidate. Okay, not what I expected. And so the Choice Scarf and the Citrus Berry. This is where I made my first mistake. I saw the Choice Scarf, and I was like, okay, so Trick Room is going to be a good option here, because obviously... Choice Scarf increases its speed, is a low speed Pokemon. My other two will then outspeed the Rhyperior. The reason why I screwed up here is because when you go into your Dynamax form, you actually don't have access to choice items, so Choice Scarf, Specs, and Band. They don't work anymore. So when I use Trick Room here, I don't know why he used Bounce, and then Yawn comes in and hits the Rhyperior. So when I used the Trick Room, I assumed that I would still be slower, and that was a mistake. I should have double checked and thought about the order in this turn, but I was more focused on the next turn, and this is where I definitely threw it away. So you've got the situation. I do get the Trick Room off. I should have detected here with Umbreon, and it would have been fine, but I thought I could live another hit. Obviously I could not, so it goes to the Max Knuckle first. This is definitely my big mistake, and I lose. And the reason why it was a big mistake is because Gorgeist tries to use Trick or Treat, which would have made me immune to fighting moves. And see, it fails. So this was definitely where I made a huge mistake. Bounce comes in and hits me like a brick. Oh, truck, I should say. And I go down to the 1 HP. Focus Sash. Their Rhyperior is asleep, which is good, but not like great. I'm pretty sure I do get off the Belly Drum here. I thought Belly Drum was a good choice, considering one of them was asleep. I could have had a 1-turn sleep, but, you know, I was willing to risk it for the biscuit. Mostly because Rhyperior could have used another max fighting move and just one-shot the Snorlax. For sure, it definitely would have worked. Snorlax has better special defense than it does defense by a long margin. So I used Trick or Treat here, thinking that if Rhyperior is going to stay in the field, it will destroy my Snorlax. And this was a way for me to counter that. And then Waterfall definitely, you know, it does what it does. And one-shots me. I'm 100% okay with that. So this is where I realized that I can actually make a bigger brain play than I usually would make. And so I Gigantamax the Snorlax like I usually would, and then use Magic Powder. So this is where I did check up the order of Snorlax Hatterene. Hatterene is actually I think slower than Snorlax. I did double check here, and then it uses Magic Powder first. So the reason why Magic Powder is useful is because it makes that Pokemon a pure Psychic type. So this eliminates the problems with Ghost Pokemon, and it eliminates problems with resistances. So Rock resists normal attacks. This means that instead of reducing my damage by half, I actually do just normal damage, which I thought was a big brain play, really. And then Waterfall comes and hits me, and I'm like, oh, damn, that was a big hit. It was a really big hit. Thankfully, I got the berry back from the Gmax Replenish. It doesn't do as much as I would have liked. And this is where I was like, oh, what do I do here? And so I use Hatterene with Protect. They didn't have any more Dynamax or Gmax, and I thought that was a good play. I wasn't sure who was going to hit the Hatterene, so I decided to just go for the Gyarados. I sort of expected a Libero Cinderace, and to use a different move, so use Fireball. I was expecting something, maybe a Steel move or something like that, but you know, I wasn't 100% certain. Where the uses Fireball again, it hits me, does mad damage, and Toxtricity uses Sludge Bomb. I was hoping to, I should have attempted a double Protect here, but it just is what it is. And Gmax Replenish comes in, hits the Cinderace. I should have actually hit the Toxtricity. I'm pretty sure in the previous turn I actually used Trick Room. Or tried to use Trick Room, but it didn't work. So Snorlax is out. Toxtricity uses Protect. I only have one offensive move, so I use Self-Destruct, and that's game. So 3 losses, a bit disappointing, but there was not much I could really do. I could have won one of these, and I threw it away, but I wasn't really sure what to expect there. So it is what it is. Anyway, I'm probably not going to do it like this. My face is swollen, so there wasn't that much that I could do about it. It just is what it is, and so that's why I decided to edit in this fashion. Makes it easier on my face, because my face is actually hurting still talking for almost 20 minutes straight. Anyway, thank you for watching, and until next time, bye.